Grassroots Sessions.
Together we stand, hand in hand, remembering the mothers of man, how they burned her, burned the wisdom she shared. We remember, we remember, I'll walk in grace, I'll breathe through pain, I'll birth my babies here again on sacred earth where she was laid in Lancashire. We remember, we remember, I'll walk in grace, I'll breathe through pain, I'll birth my babies here again on sacred earth where she was laid in Lancashire. We remember, remember. Together we stand, hand in hand, remembering the mothers of man, how they burned the wisdom she shared. We remember, we remember, I'll walk in grace, I'll breathe through pain, I'll birth my babies here again on sacred earth where she was laid in Lancashire. We
Hello, beautiful beings. Thank you so much for joining us for Grassroots Sessions. We just want to say a massive thank you to all of our patrons who support us through Patreon. If you would like to join us, please check out the link below this video. We can't express our gratitude enough. We couldn't create these videos without the support we have on Patreon, and yeah, please do check it out. We have content on there that isn't available anywhere else, and there's such a beautiful community blossoming there. So
We're actually just about to upload a video to Patreon answering people's questions that they've asked on Patreon. Some really very quite personal questions and
Yeah.
some really great questions as well. So
Yeah.
check that out if you can.
Yeah. And today's song is called Mothers of Man, and Katie wrote it. It's an absolutely
We wrote it together.
Oh yeah, we wrote it together. Sorry.
Alex wrote the music.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Wow, what an interesting chat this is about to be. Yeah, so Mothers of Man.
Oh, remember you were writing a rap to it?
Yeah, that's right. I wrote a rap to this song.
He was playing it a lot around the house. I was saying how beautiful the music was.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
And he was writing a rap to it.
Yeah.
And then I called Goddess on the Loose. Right?
Goddess on the Loose, that's right.
And I was writing.
Yeah.
I kept hearing it over and over, and then I started singing the song that you just heard, just in my head. But then I kept feeling that the rap he was writing and the song I was singing didn't go together.
No, they didn't.
It just didn't mesh at all.
Do you know what? It found its way. The rap found its way into the second verse of Pyramid of Time.
No way.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So
which
check.
Rap was
it's to the government.
To the government. You don't own me. Mama birthed me from her yoni. And I was like, oh, but it's not really going with this sort of ancient call to the sky. And like,
I fought for it though.
I argued that they went together, but they didn't. And
I just really wanted to rap to that style of chords.
Yeah, because the chords are so beautiful.
And I guess I guess I want to rap to a ballad, so maybe one day that'll happen. But I realised over time, over the months that you were writing those beautiful new lyrics and melodies, that I need to let this go, and I put it into Pyramid of Time. And funnily enough, the Goddess on the Loose is inspired by the website that reported on the crop circle in 2008 of the Mobius loop that was created, the Mobius loop crop circle that inspired the name of this band. So yeah, that's right. Many years later, Goddess on the Loose started coming through to them chords. And then
did Goddess on the Loose write a blog about it or something?
Goddess on the Loose is the name of the blog. Yeah, you can check it out on our website actually under the mission page, our mission page on mobiusloop.co.uk. And then it's incredible that I just should come back to us in this very moment when we're chatting about it. But yeah, what the song became, like, I feel so grateful to have co-written it with you, because Katie...
Yeah, well, it's an amazing set of chords, and the feeling that it was evoking from me, like I kept hearing it in the house, and this sound, just Together We Stand, kept coming out, and then all the things that I was reading at the time, and the things that I've experienced growing up as a woman in this society are all definitely merged into there, and just the collective grief that woman has felt throughout the centuries and throughout the ages. And I've done a lot of reading on the ancient goddess religions and how people used to worship the mother spirit and the mother earth and the mama cycles with the moon and the blood and the creative nature of the womb, and in fact even down to the very country I was born in, the British Isles was named originally Bridget's Isles, and Bridget was the ancient goddess that they would worship. So learning a lot of that, and then having grown up in a country where the religions, Christianity and Islam and Judaism, are very much patriarchal religions where the feminine isn't really mentioned in a positive light, and God is a man, and I just wanted to pay homage really to all of the women that gave birth to all them men, and all the women that gave birth to the men that wrote the Bible, and all the women who gave birth to the men who wrote the Quran, and all the women who gave birth to the men who wrote the Torah. And they get very rarely mentioned. All the births they had to endure, and all the breastfeeding that they did to keep all the humans alive. And there's so little mention of the women in these ancient texts. And there will have been so many writings written down by women, passed down to their daughters in the red tents. There will have been that, and unfortunately much of that literature has been burnt, lost, hidden, discredited, ruined. And there's just such a massive history of the oppression of women and of women, and the sex-based oppression that she suffered based on her reproductive system and her ability to be made pregnant against her will. I
think because we are human animals, we've come through the instincts of the animal, and we see in the animal kingdom, there's a lack of consent in a lot of the reproduction in animals. But as humans with consciousness, we've had to evolve through, especially men, through taking a woman's rights away from her and impregnating her. It's just a terrible history of patriarchy, and we need, this song really acknowledges that. We remember. Yeah,
we do remember. And though they tried to burn the evidence of that, and they tried to extinguish the fire within the woman that is still burning very strong, that anger and that collective memory, we do remember that. Within our DNA, and just the fact that woman has been the property of man for so much of his story, so much of our history. women bought and sold, birthed into slavery because they were, you know, they were given away by their fathers and taken away by their husbands. And it still happens in parts of the world today. It's you know, I can with my open mind see that maybe stemmed from a want to protect the daughters because of that ability to be made pregnant and to want to make sure they were in a marriage where the children would be provided for. Totally understand that, but just the way that has led to so much oppression and women being forced into marriages where, you know, they're abusive and not being able to leave because of their children. And I think there's a lot of rage and grief in that song coming through the vocals, where I'm sort of calling to the sky, to the ancient mama, and I'm saying we remember and we haven't forgotten, and we will sing your name. And
it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's such a powerful song.
Every time we start playing it, I just feel so blessed and in the moment with it.
And you brought through those amazing chords. And when I'm speaking of woman being owned by man, that's no degradation on the men in our lives today, because the men in our lives have had to suffer that same patriarchy. The men had to cry watching their mothers burn. The men had to prize their daughters out of the hands of those trying to harm them. The men have had to suffer as much, you know. And there are men who have been protecting women and daughters all throughout that same history, and they remember too. They remember their mothers and their sisters and their daughters. So it's a really powerful song, I think, and there's an amazing music video to it if you haven't seen it, made by the incredible Samsara Sessions. It's on our earlier YouTube videos.
We'll link it below.
It's a beautiful
and we'll link
video.
Samsara below as well.
Please do share that video around. It's very powerful.
Massive love going out to Kai Ohio, who filmed that, and wow, what an incredible man he is, the way he's been able to bring through the goddess in Katie, and
really
and
brought
he,
that song alive,
for Mothers of Man, and he did the same a year before with Mama, like, which is, we're just so blessed to have worked with him, and we look forward to making more music videos with you, Kai. Definitely. Bless you, brother.
I just wanted to speak a bit about the lyrics that are I'll walk in faith, I'll breathe through pain, I'll birth my babies here again.
Amazing lyrics.
That's very much about feeling the collective pain that woman has experienced, but still wanting to bring through souls into this realm, knowing the temporary nature of it, and knowing that, you know, you can die giving birth to a child, but choosing still to bring through life, and acknowledging that new life can be born, and every spring all of the life is blooming, and there's hope and humanity and beauty in the rebirth of life. And definitely calling upon the idea that perhaps there's lots of reincarnation happening, that maybe we lived many of these lives before, and yet we still choose to come here to this earth plane to experience this earthly life, and to give birth to living, breathing human beings. That's definitely woven in.
I think just we're so honoured to live in a time where for Katie and I, and hopefully for a lot of the world, the man and the woman feel a great sense of equality these days, and the woman can choose when she wants to be pregnant, and if she wants to be pregnant, not all women want to have children, and that should be her right. And also, women have birthed every single human being that has ever lived from her beautiful womb, and this song just really is trying to awaken that understanding, you know, and that respect and dignity that woman deserves. You know, nothing, all the accomplishments, the technology we're speaking through, all of it has been designed through the minds of people that were formed in the womb of a woman, and then birthed and then cared for by her breast milk, and cherished and loved. Like, you know, as a man, I can see, even though me and Katie spend our days raising our son together, there's just a different level of nurturing and connection for Katie, and even though I consider myself very hands-on and there with her, and I don't speak for all men. There may be men who feel they do more than the woman. There's difficult circumstances, but from what I can see, the nurturing that a woman has done, that women have done for all of humanity, they deserve temples bigger than all of these patriarchy churches which plague our skylines, you know, in the shape of a phallic design that ultimately it celebrates the geometry within all things, and in a lot of that geometry you will see the shape of the Vesica Pisces, the yoni, the sacred yoni, from portal, which all is birth. And yeah, so as a man, I'm just so grateful and inspired by you as a songwriter and as a woman, and I'm so honoured to see we've had 2 beautiful home births, and I was present through both of them, and there as both our sons came from you and entered this world, and
so amazing to witness, eh?
I cannot believe it. I highly recommend it for anyone
and another
who wants to cherish women more.
Another inspiration is having experienced birth and all of the sensations and human pain that can come with that, or animal pain that can come with that, and acknowledging how much pain the woman has gone through to bring the children here, and then how much pain she goes through with developing that bond, and then to acknowledge the absolute atrocities committed against women who had their babies burnt in front of them to get confessions out of them, to then admit that they're witches. And the lyric in there about Lancashire is very much because we're from Lancashire and we've been born on that ancient land where that ancient lineage lies of all the women who were burnt in Lancashire for apparently being witches, for understanding herbs and how to heal the body, for blasphemy, for the insane things that women were burnt for, and their babies burnt alongside them, and their books burnt alongside them too. There's an atrocious history there. And
check out the witch hunts of England over the last few hundred years. It's been terrible, and it's run parallel with the loss of knowledge of plant medicines and the natural remedies that woman knew about in the garden, because she raised all the children, intrinsically so, because she has the breast milk in the womb, and then the natural, the umbilical cord is cut physically, but then there's an invisible umbilical cord there that woman raises the children through out their childhood. And this song is in honour of that, and that's why the mention of Lancashire as well. There's the Lancashire witch trials, and we were raised aware of this around Lancashire, weren't we? There's statues in honour of those witches, and there's many stories around Pendle, and there's people who celebrate those witches there, and it's very much blessed our lives and opened our eyes to the Lancashire witches and all the witches of the world, really.
And witch means wise woman, and the wise women would know how to cure illness and ailments, and even they started bringing in mandates to eradicate these wise women from practicing their medicine by saying that you could only practice medicine if you had a license from the crown, and you weren't allowed a license from the crown if you were a woman, and so essentially they made women, it was illegal for a woman to practice medicine, even if she had 100% cure rate of curing all of her patients. It was said that she had that because she was talking to the devil. Like, that's how insane the religious dogma went, and how much they used that to harm women. Again, harking back to the fact that there's no mention of women in a sacred way in these texts. Books written by men for men in order to control and own their women.
They being the authorities at the time, and still today we question our authorities, and we should always question our authorities. Throughout history, we can see that the authority hasn't always been the most morally or ethically sound of mind, and this song really does hark back to that memory of what happened to woman. And only since 1920s did the woman in the UK receive some sort of equal rights with men, and even around somewhere like the 1980s or 1990s did she become released of the notion of having her own dignity in the bedroom and stuff. And
because it never used to be illegal for a man to rape his wife, because she was just considered
right up until the late 20th century. It's so atrocious.
So that's definitely a lot of the inspirations behind the song, is celebrating and remembering what woman has had to experience and endure over the centuries. If you haven't had a chance to visit Glastonbury town, there's some incredible goddess temples in Glastonbury town that are set
in
up
the UK,
in order to honour the ancient goddess and the modern goddess, and the attributes of the divine feminine that are found within all of us. So Alex has got attributes of the divine feminine within him. I have within me.
Nipples.
We all have.
They won't produce milk.
We all have a yin yang of divine masculine and feminine within ourselves, and honouring that, and giving thanks to Mama and Father, Sky and Earth, as the pagans would have said.
honouring the blessing that happened when we ourselves was in the womb, and those early weeks that when we were for some divine reason shaped into man or woman or some blend of the two, and coming out here into the world and being you know, blessed to be conscious of that, you know. And like the animals, we are human animals, and we're here to tend the garden, and history shows us that we've not done a very good job of tending it, you know. And I think a song like this is definitely it's here to inspire us all to be, you know, this specific song is about cherishing the woman and respecting the woman and
the womb man.
The womb man, yeah.
Yes, she's a man with
is
a
that,
womb.
Is that patriarchal title?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yes, so we do all come from the same place. We all come from the womb.
Yeah.
And what a wonderful thing to celebrate.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us on today's Grassroots session.
Right.
If you have any questions about this song, please let us know in the comments below. And yes, once again, thank you to our incredible patrons for making these videos possible. We love you guys. If you enjoyed today's song, please pop a quid in our virtual hats via the link below. And we'll see you next time for another Grassroots session. We love you guys.
Grassroots Sessions is made possible by our wonderful patrons who support us on Patreon. Thank you so much to all of you beautiful beings.
Please join our Patreon today to help us create more videos. Donations are also very welcome here.